receive it. It is. It is for me. Just wait on the Lord. Be of good courage. It is. It is for me. 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 It is for
Day by day, no more reaction. You are my center attraction. Every beat, my heartbeat is your song.
hurt and harm, you're my protection. The path I take is your direction. 'Cause I know with you I can go wrong. Ever since that day I asked you into my heart, my world has changed, so promise me you'll never part. 'Cause I'm lost without you.
Easy to see,
I'm lost without you.
and there's no letting go.
So let me be the first to say
I'm lost without you.
so don't ever go.
Go away. Said don't ever go away.
You pick me up those times I'm down. You make me laugh when there's no clown. No one else can love me like you do.
Heaven knows that I proclaim the love I feel when I hear your name. There's no substitution quite the same. Now some say I'm crazy and I'm acting insane, but there's no life without you, so I'll state my claim. Oh,
I'm lost without you.
it's easy to see,
I'm lost without you.
so I just keep holding on.
So let me be the first to say
I'm lost without you, so don't ever go,
don't ever go.
go away. Nah, nah, nah. Go away. Yeah. Can you tell them about love?
Love is sweet and love is kind. Love will bring you peace of mind.
And how do you know?
Well, I tell you so. He won't ever go.
Oh no, he won't ever. Now that's what I love about it. That's what I love about it. Oh yeah. Hey, 'cause he won't ever go away. No. Whatever you're doing in this season, please don't do it without me. Don't do it without me. You got to tell them for yourself. Lord, whatever you're doing in this season, please don't do it without me. Woo! Don't do it without me. Come on, help me say it. Just say, Lord, whatever you're doing in this season, please don't do it. You got to tell him for yourself. You got to tell him for yourself. Don't do it. Come on, say it like you mean it. Lord, whatever you're doing in this season, please don't do it without. No, 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 no. Somebody needs a healing tonight. If you need a healing, just say, Lord, if you're healing in this season.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon. Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Ask Elaine, where to ask Elaine. Ask Elaine, where to ask Elaine. Ask Elaine, where to ask Elaine. Ask Elaine, where to ask Elaine.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this Wednesday, 3 p.m. edition of Ask Elaine. We're just so happy to have you there. Those who've joined us on 980 AM, those who've joined us on FM, and of course, those who are here on the Glory Live on Facebook Live. We want to welcome Shirley Lester, who is here on Facebook Live, Wade Horton, who is here, who has joined us. If y'all would please like and share to remind those who are a little tardy that we are on the air, that their favorite talk and information program is on the air. And we are so glad to have you there. Um, we want to thank all of our sponsors, those people who help us, especially Black Voters Matter, an organization that helps to support things that are going on in the community that are beneficial to the people in the community. So we want to thank them. We want to thank Senator Lucas. We want to thank Sheriff David Davis. We want to thank former Mayor C. Jack Ellis, number of other people who support Ask Elaine. Thank you so very much. We want to thank the station and the very fine owners here of this historic radio station, and also a very fine engineer, Mr. Jackson, who helps to keep us on the air and keeps me from blowing up the station on a weekly basis. So we want to thank him. We want to welcome Harriet Taylor, who has joined us. Shirley Washington has joined us, and we're going to ask Shirley later in the show if she would call in and let's talk just a little bit about saving the bell at Historic Stewart Chapel AME Church. We want to welcome her to Ask Elaine. Randy Crawford is with us. Sharon Talton is with us. And we just want to thank all those who are on AM, those who are on FM, and those who can see us here. Maria Bryant with the NAACP. Good afternoon to you, Eloise Jefferson Hall. All of our buddies are there, and we know some of you don't ever let us know that you're there, but we thank you because we know that you're there and you're listening and you're learning. You get smarter every time you listen or watch this program because we bring you some information that you won't get a whole lot of other places. And we try to be informative every week, and we try to give you something that you can work on. So thank you so very much. We want to thank our volunteers in the office of EL High School, Ms. Humphrey, Ms. Glover, Ms. Huckabee, my sister, Sherry Shannon Miller, Leonard Lucas, my son. We want to thank all of you who volunteer. Marcy Pitts Thornton, who volunteers there at EL High School Academy. We could not provide a high school education to those students if it were not for those folks. And we encourage you, come on by if you, especially those of you who who left school and you only had a few classes to get, you could be finished with your high school diploma in almost no time or a short time. And then those who have a lot of high school credits that you'd still need to get, if you get started, you'd be surprised how quickly you will finish because you already know most of the stuff that you need to know to complete high school because you learned a lot while you were in school and just living life, just working, being a family member, you learn the rest of it. So we encourage you to connect with EL High School Academy, and we'll be glad to assist you in getting your high school diploma from an accredited program. We want to welcome Overseer Mabel Randall. Of course, we said Harriet Taylor is with us, Eloise Jefferson Hall, Maria Bryant, Shirley Washington. All of you who have joined us, thank you so very much. Um, we want to express our condolences to those families who have lost loved ones. We especially want to send our condolences to the Riggins family. 86-year-old Miss Riggins passed away on yesterday. I believe she had 7 or 8 grown children, and many of you know her family from the Bellevue area. So we want to express our condolences as well as condolences to all of you who have suffered loss. And we want to say congratulations to all of you who have experienced some good things happening with your family. Want to remind you that you have a lot of money invested in the amphitheater out at the where Macon Mall is. And so I would encourage you to ride by there and see what's happening with your tax money. You will be pleased. Also, Board of Elections has moved. They're no longer on Pinon Avenue. They are now in your Macon Mall. They're where Sears used to be. So you enter in the section there where the police team and all of the military recruiters are. That way, go down your hallway and make a right turn, and you'll be there at your Board of Elections, your new, refurbished, beautiful Board of Elections. And you'll see all of the other things that are being done out there in your building. That is your building. We're just there to kind of make some decisions and handle some money for you and all of that. But it's your building, it's your money, so you need to go out. But there are 3,300 Bibb County residents who are about to be purged from the voting rolls. So if you're not sure, if you're absolutely positive, you're 99% sure that you're on the rolls, that you're at the right address, everything's correct. Still, I was 99% sure, but I checked my voter status to make sure that next year, when it's time to vote for all of these different local offices and the national offices, I am ready. I am ready, and I'm going to check probably every month from now on, all the way through to the elections to make sure that nobody can question my right to vote and nobody can say that I should be disqualified from voting. You've got to protect what's sacred to you. So, y'all, please do that. We want to welcome Larry Mims, Zontian Cotton. Good afternoon to you. And we want to welcome all of you who have joined us here on Ask Elaine. We have a very special guest, one that I know you're going to be pleased to meet. He is none other than Edgar Dominic. He is a former New York City sheriff and alcohol, tobacco, and firearms deputy director. He served a distinguished 20-year career in government and the private sectors, beginning his career as a special agent at the Bureau of Alcohol, um, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. I hope he will get his camera on so that because after I do this introduction, I know he wants us to see him. But anyway, um, a gentleman who works with my husband in Atlanta, who is a lobbyist there, recommended this gentleman because they are working on a project that impacts. Okay, Mr. Engineer, he says he can see me, but um, we need to see him. Okay, we know you want to see your special guest. All of us do. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead while the engineer is working on getting him on camera. I'm going to go ahead and finish the introduction. Anyway, he's a 29-year career. He has a 29-year career in government and the private sectors, beginning his career as a special agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. In 2010, Dominic was appointed by Mayor Bloomberg to serve as the New York City Sheriff. During his tenure as sheriff, he formulated law enforcement strategies to dismantle illicit tobacco activities, implementing the city's tobacco tax enforcement regime that guides its illicit market response to this day. Um, Since 2018, Dominic has served as an adjunct professor and subject matter expert at Georgetown University, assisting in the development of a master's course on organized crime and terrorism. Today, our expert, Mr. Dominic, is going to talk about something that's being pushed out to our children. Um, it is we're going to talk about the subject of vaping, and I'm going to ask him if he will discuss what vaping is, what the problem is. And I know you're saying, oh my gosh, something else. But yes, something else that we need to be aware of and that we need to make sure that our children are aware of. And our engineer is working on getting our guest on camera. But while we're doing that, I want to say to you there is an article that our guest authored, and it's called New York City Fights Illegal Flavored Vapes, using lawsuits to go after purveyors targeting kids. And it talks about the city of New York recently taking a monumental step to protect our children with a landmark legal filing that can serve as a model for cities and states fighting teen vaping. And when we get our guest, Mr. Dominic, on camera, we're going to ask him to tell us what this problem is. What is vaping? How is it harmful? Um, and then we're going to also ask, why is it a problem? um, Mr. Dominic put together a legal strategy that's a bold move designed to fight back against a massive, sinister criminal operation that is largely flown under the radar. So we've got one more thing to deal with. While they're working on getting him on camera, we want to welcome Eloise Jefferson Hall, Overseer Mabel Randall, my sister Nita, Larry Mims, Mr. Cotton, Harriet Taylor, Overseer Mabel Randall, all of these folks who are faithful to us, who join us. We also want to thank all of those who are on AM, who are on FM, and our engineer is working. I believe that Mr. Dominic is in New York or Virginia. And so we're trying to get him, our engineer is working to get him on camera so that we can ask him about this vaping. He was recommended to us by a gentleman who works as a lobbyist at the state capitol. And what they're trying to do is to get the information out to as many people as possible about this vaping. Um, and Mr. Dominic, I believe, can see us and he can hear. Um, but he's working on the technology, even though we know what's going on, we know what we're doing. Some technology, Uh, anyway, let me tell you some more about this whole thing. Policymakers and others have joined together to fight the teen vaping epidemic to some success. But what many fail to realize is that the problem changed and expanded. Over the past several years, hundreds of millions of illegal disposable vapes in kid friendly flavors have flooded the United States from China, sneaking across our borders and through our ports. Vapes with fruit and candy flavors like peach ice, watermelon frenzy, and razzmatazz in colorful packaging are designed to entice our children. While flavored vapes have been illegal in New York for years, lack of enforcement means they are still available widely. The FDA subsequently banned flavored vapes nationwide, but the agency has done a poor job communicating its own rules. And this has sabotaged local enforcement. They tried working on this, but it was a little too late. Today, an international network of criminal vape traffickers is exploiting our agency's failure and pumping hundreds of millions of illegal vapes into every community in the country. New York is already home to the most active criminal tobacco market in the country. And they go on in this article to talk about a lot of the activities that are going on in a big city like New York. Um, but it's good to see that cities are trying to, or at least New York is trying to take the lead to fight illegal disposable vapes. The scariest thing about the new face of the teen vaping epidemic is that they are manufactured and distributed without any standard or oversight. Legitimate products in the supply chain are approved by the FDA to meet certain standards, but illegal disposable vapes from China are manufactured with substandard materials and unknown ingredients. Some news reports have revealed that fentanyl, which is a drug that many young white men are overdosing on, and there's a lot of effort being put forth to get a handle on that, but there are many young white men who are dying from that. But this study revealed that fentanyl in certain vapes has led to teen overdoses. So not only do our kids have to deal with all of the other things, but here we go with something else. Mr. Cotton asks, does it have chemicals in it that are addictive? Yes, yes. Some, as I was just reading, some have fentanyl, which has proved fatal for a lot of young people. So, as a law enforcement professional, Mr. Dominic says that he's increasingly frustrated by lawmakers who seem to think that regulating popular adult products is some sort of academic exercise, like it's something that you just do. But what he's recommending is that we do more to make sure that these kinds of things that are geared toward getting our children to buy them, use them, and thereby getting addicted to them, and in some cases, overdosing, that we keep them, we implement strategies to keep them from our kids. And he wants them to use his design to fight back against the criminal disposable vape traffickers and seize their products. He says we're losing the fight right now, but working together, we can make a difference. This was an article from Mr. Dominic, who was the 117th Sheriff of New York City and Deputy Director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Mr. Engineer, we're going to get him on. Oh, you need his phone number? Okay. We're working on getting him on, y'all. If it can be done, our engineers will do it. While we're working to get our special guest on, if Shirley Washington will call us, are we ready, Mr. Engineer? Okay. All right. We're going to ask Shirley to call us, though, still. Okay, here we are.
How
Miss,
are you, Elaine?
how are you? It
Well,
is.
it's technology, as you were saying. I could hear you talking about the issues of technology, and we're working behind the scenes.
Yeah. Well, we've already told our listeners and those who are viewing us on the Glory Facebook about you and about your wealth of experience. And so it's great having you on Ask Elaine. And we are just thank you, Mr. Engineer. You just we're gonna hey lunch lunch. Thank you and welcome to Ask Elaine. We're going to ask you if you will. We've already introduced you, so they know who you are and they know about your background and your wealth of experience. But if you'll tell us what vaping is.
Yeah, I think the issue here, Elaine, is vaping are their disposable vapes, and what they are is they are devices that allows individuals to basically take in and ingest some type of material so that they can in turn gives them a sense of smoking.
Mm,
Okay, and what has happened is the country has been absolutely inundated with counterfeit disposable vaping products that are targeting our kids. These vaping products, 99% of them are coming from China.
mm,
There's no regulations. We have absolutely no idea what our kids are ingesting, the harm that it's creating for them short term and long term. And there are also reports of fentanyl being in some of these
yeah.
disposable vapes. And it becomes rather challenging because, again, these are illegal products. These are not the regulated vaping products that you can buy that are go through the Food and Drug Administration and meet all of the stringent health requirements in order for them to be legally sold. These are disposable vapes that unfortunately are targeted toward children and are being sold at every street grocery store in this country.
All right. How are they able to get past the regulations?
Well, because they're counterfeit products and because the Food and Drug Administration has done a horrific job of enforcing their requirements, their statutory requirements, that these are coming in through China, like most counterfeit products. As an example, most illegal counterfeit tobacco products are coming from China. They come across the border or port of entries. Only about 2% of the cargo containers in this country are inspected because of the
Mhm,
enormous number, the sheer number, the volume. It's impossible to search all of the container ships. So these products are coming in from overseas in container ships. It's being organized by criminal organized groups who are basically steering this operation. It has become almost like a narcotics investigation, an operation, because the money that is being made, it's in the hundreds of millions, and
mhm.
because there is no real enforcement apparatus, that nobody's getting arrested, nobody's going to jail, none of these things are being seized because nobody from the state and local perspective understand what the rules are. Because again, the federal government has failed the state and local communities in this issue.
Okay, so now I know that you've got a wealth of experience and there's an organized effort to try and fight back. So you can't do a lot about something unless you know what the problem is and where what situations children will find themselves in, or young folks, where these things are available. So tell us basically where these things are found, where
Well,
someone who has young folks, where they find them.
unfortunately, you can find them at your corner grocery store where they're selling cigarettes. They're also selling disposable vapes, and they have children names to them. For instance, they've got peach ice, watermelon frenzy, razzmatazz. Okay, those sound like candy, right,
Uh,
Elaine?
uh,
So we as parents, not knowing any different, think they're just picking up some type of candy, some type of snack.
Yeah.
something that we're not used to, but those are actually disposable vapes. Okay. Unfortunately, you can go online. Kids can go online, and there are websites that you can buy disposable vapes, and they come and they actually look like highlighters for school supplies.
Oh,
Now, think of that. Okay. The enormous sophistication of these criminal elements, that they're able to take the time and have the ingenuity to design these vapes that kids will put on their lips and ingest the product, and it looks like a highlighter. It
uh-huh.
looks like a pack of gum. It doesn't look like anything we as parents would think, well, that
Yeah.
doesn't seem right, because they're sold in the counters. You can buy them on the website. So we think, well, this must be okay. And it's far from it. These are not approved by the FDA. These are not legal products. They have not even been checked for the FDA to determine what type of ingredients are in these products. This is where we need the parents to be educated by our health officials. We need to educate the law enforcement entities. We need to the agencies that regulate store products. We need to educate everybody to say these things are harmful to our kids, and we have to collaborate jointly as a community, from the law enforcement aspect to the regulatory aspect, and say we need to take these things off the shelves, and we
Uh,
need to work
yeah.
together.
Yeah. Yeah. We have Dave on the line. Dave from New Jersey. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have a question or a comment?
Well, I was listening to Mr. Dominic, and I wanted to first thank him for his service.
Yeah.
It seems that if we've got such a significant flood of these products coming into the country, what can't the state attorney general, can't the sheriffs, can't the local city council, don't they play a role in trying to help create the environment, or just get these things off the shelves? If they're in every street corner and every corner smoke shop, what can we do?
Uh, Dave, that's a great question. I think one of the things we can do is what New York City has done, and it was one of the things I noted in my op-ed in the Daily News. Mayor Adams is basically utilizing the RICO statute, the racketeering statute,
Mm,
with his law department to go after these distributors of disposable vapes that are targeting kids. Go after the money. Okay, you eliminate the ability for these organizations to make money, they will go away. But this gives the full force of law enforcement to seize the product, to seize the money, and also look at substantial jail time for these businesses that are operating in this environment. Okay,
uh-huh.
and that's just the city of New York, the mayor of New York, taking a very proactive approach, utilizing laws on the books that typically aren't used for this, but him and his law department are utilizing and using great novel approaches to tackle an enormous national problem. So if more state and locals do this, then we start attacking the problem at the root level. And also, what we're doing is we're educating the parents,
Right.
Elaine. And I know that's important to you, Elaine. We're educating the parents so that they know what their children are doing and what they shouldn't be consuming and ingesting into their bodies. And
Yeah.
by doing that, we're educating everybody. And at the same time, we're educating the kids. Because unfortunately, the kids are young. They just think, well, I can buy it at the store, I can buy it on the web. It must be okay.
Right.
Okay. Little do they know, none of it's been checked and none of it's been cleared by the FDA.
Uh-huh. Well, it is, there's so many things that we, in this age, we let our children do on their own. We want them to be individuals and exercise their individuality and all of this stuff. And my strategy is you follow them all the way to college, and then if you have to, a little bit after, because that's why you have parents who are there to safeguard their kids. And there are so many challenges out there. Now, you have a picture. Do you have any of the vapes or anything? You have any of those that you could show us?
I don't have any of those with me, Elaine, but you can literally you can go on the web on the browser and type in disposable vapes, and you will see
Uh-huh.
they come in various colors. But what's interesting, if you go ahead and type in disposable vapes for young adults,
Uh-huh.
you'll start to see a very interesting dynamic. The colors, the
Uh-huh.
designs are
Yeah.
geared towards the kids. And one of the things I wanted to note, Elaine, is that one of the resources that the state and local community have are the schools,
Mm-hmm.
principals, school resources officers, teachers are seeing these disposable vapes on school property. They know what they are. They know that they're not supposed to be being used by kids. They know they're illegal. They're a great resource to identify where the kids are buying the disposable vapes.
Uh-huh.
And they're a great way to educate the parents. And there
Here
you've
we are.
got some sites right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And our great engineer, I'm gonna have to buy him two lunches. But he's showing examples of some of them. There is just, I mean, you think that you've got a handle on one thing, and then you convince them not to buy the Black and Miles and this, worse than cigarettes and stuff. And then here's something else that's geared and marketed toward our children. It's a never ending battle. But we are glad that there are folks like you, and thank you, caller, so much for that call. Our call-in number is 478-250-1444. If you would like to call in and make a comment or ask a question about this vaping, we hope that the information that we're providing is useful to you. If you have children, grandchildren, as I do, then you're concerned about them and what they're exposed to. And you can't be with them all the time, but you certainly do want to, if there's some temptations that are out there, you want to watch. You want to be very watchful as to what's going on, because there are people who don't have your children's best interests at heart. They're out to make some money, and the earlier you get kids hooked on stuff, the longer you have a client or clients. And here's another example showing you of what you need to be looking for. Um, in the neighborhood convenience stores, is that where you would find a lot of these?
Yes, Elaine, you're going to find them in your neighborhood grocery stores. But you know what? This is where the problem it expands to a certain degree, because you've got a lot of mom and pop grocery stores, Elaine. Growing up like I did in the city, that they were the second home. Okay,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could send your kids to that store, and they could go ahead and bring back the bread and the milk and the eggs, and you
right.
knew that they're going to be safe in there. Okay, those stores, they're not selling these illegal disposable vapes.
Uh,
Okay, so they're losing customers because they're not willing to sell the illegal garbage that these disposable vapes are. Okay, so they're being penalized for doing the right thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
One of our listeners says a guy left one on the machine the other day, and it was green and yellow. It looked like a little pineapple, and you can know that young folks would be attracted to something like this. We have Wade on the line. Wade, are you there?
Yes.
Wade, if you'll speak up just a little bit so we can hear you. And we want to welcome Pastor Lisa. And also, we want to welcome
Okay.
Dr. Butler and Susan Smith to Ask Elaine.
Okay.
Go
Can you
ahead,
hear me?
Wade.
Okay. I just got just a couple of questions. I'm gonna get off so somebody else can get on. But I want to know the stores that are selling it. Are they willing participants, or is it something that they're doing not knowingly? And if they are willing, um, want to know, have any task force being successful at shutting this part down? And are there certain people or demographics more targeted than others?
Well, Wayne, what I can say is from my experience in New York, I'm not sure what we're doing in Georgia. I will say that most of the stores that are selling these disposable vapes know exactly what they're selling, and they know they're illegal because they're targeted for kids. And any type of vaping product targeting juveniles is illegal. There's no there's no gray line here. That's why the FDA's failure to basically stop these products from coming into the country by educating our Border Patrol, our Homeland Security, and those entities and those agencies that secure the border, it falls on the shoulders of the federal government to do a better job. But the stores, when they get them, they know exactly they're targeting the kids. They know it's illegal. They know for the most part, and I will say this for the most part, in most jurisdiction, there is no concentrated joint investigative effort to target these disposable vapes for children
Mhm.
because of the lack of clarity from the FDA giving clear directions and instructions as to which ones are illegal and which ones are legal. The
Yeah.
FDA needs to step up,
Yeah.
needs to provide the education and the resources to state and local law enforcement and regulatory agencies so that they can better educate their employees to know exactly what they can basically take off the shelves. And
Mhm.
then they need to go ahead and take them off the shelves.
Yeah.
It's
Our
what it's what they're doing in New York
showing,
City in a large degree.
yeah, it's showing some more examples of how these are bright, colorful. They're in the cute shapes. They would be really attract the attention of young people, and that's who they're geared toward. Xanthian says one thing we know we can tell that white smoke anywhere because it's a lot of it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Dominic, one more question. I'm gonna let you go. Have you noticed in New York City what demographic of people that are more targeted to, or is it just abroad?
It's abroad when it's coming to the disposable vapes. It's kids of all ages, all demographics, all ethnic groups. They are just trying to basically saturate our kids with these addictive style flavors, and the kids don't realize it, but it's so unhealthy. It's a long term health issue, and it's just so wrong that we don't have a better policy in place from a national perspective to get these things off the shelf. They have no place in our grocery stores, and they have no place in our kids for our kids. These should not be that easy that they can. It's like buying a soda at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You can buy
Yeah.
disposable vape, soda, and potato chips all at the same time. Something's wrong with that picture.
Right.
Is it?
That's right. Our
Okay.
call-in number is 478-250-1444. I'll repeat it. 478-250-1444, and it's there on the screen, and we see a picture of some others, and you can see strawberry, uh, uh, disposable mango, all of these things. So we have got to be. I hear folks, they ask their kid, do you want this, do you want that, and then the kids are the ones telling them what they want. We are the parents or grandparents, and so we've got to be very, very attentive to what what's being marketed to our children, because a lot of it is just so wrong. It's not good for them. We want to welcome Rhonda Bird, Eloise Jefferson Hall, Shirley Washington, Mr. Cotton, sir, my sister Nita, Pastor Lisa, Dr. Butler, all of you to Ask Elaine. We also want to welcome those who are on AM and FM. Thank you so much for tuning in today. You have tuned in to Ask Elaine. If you just tuned in, this is Ask Elaine. This is your weekly talk and information program. We want to welcome you. This is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, welcoming you once again. Want to welcome Sharon Wolfalk. Thank you so much. And Wade Horton. All of these folks are they're our dependable, our usual, our regulars. Wade says it looks like we need to start a campaign of public service announcements for this serious problem. And you are absolutely right, Wade. And after we finish this program, we're going to ask these folks for their resources so that they can connect us to people who can give us some additional information that we can use to fight this, because it is a problem. While we're standing there looking at our children and grandchildren, they're being pulled into something that's not good for them. Just like we protect them from predators, other kinds of predators, we've got to work to protect them from these predators as well. So, okay, we have, we've listed the phone number for those who needed the phone number. Our call-in number is 478-250-1444. Do we have another caller? Is there another caller? Thank you, Wade. No call. Okay. Go ahead and tell us one more time how we ended up with these things being able to be placed out there to entice our kids to get addicted.
Well, Elaine, unfortunately, about 3 years ago, when the FDA had a ruling on vape products, there was an exemption as it related to disposable vapes. So that's where the organized criminal elements basically found a niche. They found a crack, okay, so to speak, in the road. And what they did was they have then utilized that little crack to saturate the market with hundreds of millions of disposable vapes, okay, into the country. And again, because of the lax FDA rulings and their lack of an aggressive enforcement stance, it opened up the ability for these groups to get themselves situated and create the venues and the avenues to push these through every part and sector of the United States. They're sophisticated in nature. They mirror the illicit tobacco activity that takes place in this country as well. Much of that tobacco products, the counterfeit comes from China as well. So again, the ability to move counterfeit products into this country has been utilized by these organized crime groups before. And what they've realized is it's a great way to make money, and there's no real repercussions if they're caught with these products.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to jail for this. That is just not acceptable. We gotta do better. We have to have policies. We have to have enforcement strategies that basically say selling disposable vapes to our children is no longer acceptable, nor will we tolerate it. So we are going to work as a community with state, local, and federal entities to come up with a plan, and we're going to target this type of product and get it off the shelves. And
Well,
like I said,
that sounds great, and we will pledge right now that we will help in any way that we can to get the information out to as many folks as possible. And this is the first in a series of things that we're going to try and do to help us to save our young folks, because we've got to do it. There's just so much. You see how bright and colorful and cute these little things are here, but they're deadly. They're deadly because there's no way of telling what's in these things. We have Shirley Washington on the line. She's a retired educator. She's a member, one of my church members from Historic Stewart Chapel, AME Church. We want to welcome Bradley James as well. Good afternoon to you, and thank you to everybody. But Shirley, are you there?
Yes, I am on, Commissioner Lucas, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I would like to thank you for the leadership that you have provided in Save the Bell at Stewart Chapel, our historic church. 158 years old, and we are certainly proud of that. Because of the danger of the bell being in our loft, it became extremely necessary for us to have this bell removed. And this is some cost that we did not expect at this time. However, we would like to thank the community for coming to our aid. We appreciate it. We have a long ways to go. In addition to placing the bell outside, which would be a rich history and legacy of our church, we have some additional repairs to do in the church, and also the proper signage that we need to display it for this long-standing history that we've had in the community. Because many of you know we're 158 years old, and we have had Dr. Martin Luther King to make one of his major speeches at Stewart Chapel, and also Dr. Benjamin Mays. There are many other notables that we have had. And it's also the home church of our dear Senator David Lucas.
Right.
And he has been very concerned and out there working to help us as well. So any help that the community can give us, we appreciate it. We have a special program coming up on August 20th, 3 p.m. Save the Bell. Family and friends, you are invited. Come and help us keep the rich legacy alive in our community, a place where you can bring your friends to show them what Stewart Chapel has meant to this community, and we are glad about it. Thank you,
Okay.
Elaine, for all that you do. You are the chairperson of our trustee board, and we appreciate you.
Unfortunately. But we want to thank you as well for all that you
Remain for the
do
job.
and all of the connections that you have and the things that you do to help keep our church going. It is historic, 158 years. And to see that bell that we had not been able to see physically, we could hear it years ago, but to be able to see that historic bell and then to kind of put it away for safekeeping, but to work on figuring out a way to display it for everyone to be able to see from now on out in front of Historic Stewart Chapel. That is a goal that we've undertaken, and we'd like to ask all of the community to help us. We will have more information next
And pray for
Wednesday.
us most of all.
Yes, we'll have Sister Washington and several other people who will be talking about this program next Wednesday on Ask Elaine. And we'll also have Mr. White, Kim and Eddie White with A. Philip Randolph Institute, who will be talking about a warrant clinic where those of you who have some things, some little slip ups in the past, and they've been haunting you all of these years, you will have an opportunity to go to a site, LH Williams, I believe, later on this month, and take care of that, where you won't have that hanging over your head from now on. So next week's show is going to be a packed one. Is going to be very interesting. But thank you, Sister Washington, for your call and for that information. The additional information is in the chat. And so we want you to take heed to that information. And now we're going to get back to our special guest. Mr. Dominic, thank you so much for being with us today. We do have a few more minutes to talk about these uh, vapes that are targeted to our children. So let's go back and kind of summarize what you've talked about. First of all, you're an expert in this and you have a wealth of experience in working with organized crime, dealing with alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and what is the explosives. So we're just very fortunate to have an expert like you. This is not the last time, the only time that we're going to have you and some of your colleagues on to talk about the dangers that our children face and all the work that you are doing to try and give us a leg up or to alert us to things that we need to be working on to safeguard our children. So I'm going to give you the last few minutes of the program just to kind of review what you've talked about. What is vaping? Why is it a problem in our community? How we can get involved in helping you with getting rid of this bad problem in our community. But thank you so much for being here. Now I'm going to let you finish it up.
Well, thank you very much, Elaine, for giving me the opportunity to discuss this very important issue. And again, the disposable vaping issue are disposable vapes are a product that are targeted primarily our kids, juveniles, with candy flavors. And what it is, they are counterfeit, illegal products coming from China, and we need to have a more
Mhm.
strategic enforcement strategy from the federal perspective, but also we need our partnerships in state and local communities. We need to partner with schools. We need to have the FDA do its job. They need to basically stop these products from coming in. They need to provide resources and educational information to law enforcement and regulatory agencies and schools so that we can do a better job of educating ourselves and educating our kids of the dangers of disposable vapes. And in that light and in that manner, we can then come together as a community, target these criminal organized groups that are selling these vapes, seize the product, seize the profits, take those profits and put them back into the communities where they can do the best good. But
Mhm.
we need the FDA to step up, do its job, so that we can have some clear understanding as to which vapes are legal, which ones are not. But more importantly, we can take care of our children. They are ingesting harmful products into their bodies every day with every puff. Elaine, I think your engineer showed one of those devices has 2,500
Yeah,
puffs.
yeah,
Okay,
it's on
let's
there
think.
bragging
Yeah,
about how many puffs they can get out of.
well,
What was that due
Well,
to?
well, yeah,
To
think about that. Think
children?
about that means that device allows that juvenile, that young man and woman, to basically puff on that device 2,500 times and ingest unknown chemicals into their bodies, the harm that that's doing. And they think it's okay because it's
It's cute
tastes
looking,
like
it's
candy.
colorful.
Yes, exactly. And I bought it at the grocery store. I bought it at the corner store, so it must be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think we need to do. In closing, thank you so very much. The FDA, and we need folks like you, policymakers like you, advocating, getting their communities and educating their communities to understand this problem. Call the FDA, complain to the FDA, say, what are you doing about disposable vapes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and coordinating with our school principals, our school resources officers, and our local police departments, and coming together and figuring out how do we get these things off the shelves to protect our kids.
Right. We're going to, on behalf of this program and myself, and as a member of the Board of Health, we're going to be bringing this issue to your Board of Health. And hopefully, the Board of Health will see fit to pass a resolution which calls for us to take a look at this and to take some action to fight for our children and for their health. And so that's going to be the next thing. When that happens, we will bring that information back to our listeners here on Ask Elaine. If we need to do a petition drive or a phone drive or email drive or whatever it is, we will let our listeners know, as long as we're doing something, and our part along with what everybody else is doing will make a difference. So somebody asked, what can we do? That's what we're going to do. The next step is going to be our local board of health. And that's why it's important to have people serving on these different boards and authorities, people who are in touch with what's going on, people like a lot of you who are listening today, who are on Facebook Live here today, who know what's going on. You're willing to learn, you're willing to do your part to alleviate problems in our community. So the next step is going to be our Board of Health. And I do plan to ask them to support and pass a resolution against this illegal vaping. And hopefully that will start the ball rolling toward some action locally and on the state level, and will reinforce what you're doing nationally to help to save our children. So if you just be on the lookout, all of you who are listening in, be on the lookout for other actions that you can take to help to alleviate this. One more thing that our children have to deal with. It's just a shame. Um, Mr. Dominic, did you hear that music?
I do.
That's the Ask Elaine music, and it says our time is up. We want to thank you. Thank you so very much for being willing to come on today. This will not be the last time we have you on, and it's good to know that there are people with information and expertise such as yours. So, thank you very, very much. You're in where? Virginia?
No, right now I'm in Connecticut, and
Uh,
yeah, so I'm in Connecticut, Connecticut, New York area.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, we're glad we could catch up with you and
Thank
get
you.
you on today. Listen, y'all in the chat, thank Mr. Dominic for being on today. We just want to thank all of you for being there. And we know that you got smarter because you listened in to Ask Elaine today. So, on behalf of everybody here, on behalf of all the folks who've tuned in today, we want to see you again here next Wednesday, 3 p.m., for another edition of Ask Elaine.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO